MScs in Chemical Engineering in the UK coming right up. Hey there, welcome to ChemEngWeekly. In this video, we will be covering all the information you need to know about applying to the UK for an MSc in Chemical Engineering. The key sections we'll be covering are: what is an MSc, who can apply, what is required, when the deadlines are, and how it's processed. Make sure you watch the video through to the end, and do consider liking and subscribing so you can get more information about chemical engineering, MScs and more in the future. And without much further ado, let's dive right in. First up, what is an MSc? An MSc in Chemical Engineering is usually a 1-year degree or 18 months long degree that covers your bases to ensure you have a Master's in Chemical Engineering by the time you graduate out of it. It's slightly different to an ChemEng in the case that an ChemEng focuses more on the applications and practical uses of the theory you learn, whereas an MSc focuses more on the theory itself. There are also some slight differences in the modules we take between an MSc and an ChemEng, and an MSc is usually a 1-year course, whereas an ChemEng is usually a 4-year course, part of an integrated master's scheme. There are also many different types of combinations of an MSc, such as chemical engineering with biotechnology, process systems engineering, structured product engineering, and more. And this is also similar to an ChemEng where your degree title changes based on the modules you take. Who can apply for an MSc in chemical engineering? Anyone, be it a home student or international, with a degree in chemical engineering or a related field can apply, and they don't necessarily have to have finished their degree either. They must be in their final year of a bachelor's degree in engineering, science, maths or a related field as a minimum, but that does not mean it's only restricted to current final year undergraduates doing a bachelor's in chemical engineering. For example, a person working in the industry for the past 20 years who graduated with a bachelor's in biomedical engineering with material science can still apply and have the same equal chance as everybody else applying for the program. The subjects that most chemical engineering MSc programs in the UK accept students from include all the engineering branches, life and physical/biomedical sciences, as well as mathematics and related fields. And most UK universities have all the information on which degrees they accept students from on their web pages for MScs. Each application sent to the university is taken case by case, so you will not be disadvantaged for doing a different undergraduate degree to chemical engineering when applying for your MSc. And there are also bridge courses and modules that you can take once you start your MSc, so you have the same extent of knowledge as your peers who may have done chemical engineering at undergrad when you graduate by the end of your MSc. What are the requirements for the application process? To start things off, we should mention that there is no requirement for an interview when applying for an MSc in chemical engineering, as it would be very difficult to conduct an interview. The reasoning behind this is because graduates who are applying to MSc chemical engineering, or soon to be graduates who are applying for chemical engineering MScs, they may not all come from the same degree class, such as a biomedical engineer compared to a natural scientist, so you wouldn't really be able to standardize an interview across each and every case. So for that reason, it's exceptionally rare that there will be an interview for MSc programs. They require an application form to be filled out, which consists of a number of key details. They require a university or college transcript to show proof that you have studied or are currently studying the subjects that you say you have. And as well as that, they require 2 references, usually from university professors, to back up that your attendance at the university and lectures has been accounted for. They usually ask for references from your professors, as the professors are usually accustomed to the MSc application program and would have the necessary training and understanding of what to include for your application to be successful. They also require a personal statement on why you want to do the MSc, which we will get into slightly later on in this video, as well as proof of your English language proficiency, which could be your GCSE English certificate and grade, an IELTS grade card, or an equivalent English qualification such as an IB, A-level or something else, which are usually mentioned on the university web pages. You are also required to upload your CV with your application form, and so you should ensure that it's the best version possible to boost your chances of getting accepted into the program. The final 2 things that are required for an application for an MSc program in the UK for chemical engineering are a grade sheet listing all your grades and scores from your years in your undergraduate degree, as well as a document containing all the modules that you have studied in clear detail for the degree you have currently completed or are currently still completing. Most universities require a minimum 2-1 grade for their university applications to be considered, but some universities in the UK do also consider a 2-2 or international equivalent of those grades, so you should make sure that you check out the university web pages to find out if you will be accepted. And just to reiterate, it is an absolute requirement that you should be in the minimum your final year of your bachelor's degree before you apply. What should you include in your personal statement? The personal statement is probably the second most important aspect of your application after your university transcript and references, because it shows the university admissions team why you want to do your MSc and why they should accept you onto the program. In the future, I will do videos covering the MSc personal statements in greater depth with good examples as well as how to write one. But for now, I'll explain the 4 main topic areas they will expect from you in a 4 to 5 paragraph personal statement. As a rule of thumb, your personal statement should not exceed 1,000 words, and the 4 key topic areas they are expecting you to cover are what you expect to do after your MSc, why you want to go to that university specifically to do your MSc, why you are suited to do an MSc, and why you want to do the MSc in the first place. The first section should cover why you want to do postgraduate study. It should be between 300 to 500 words, as this is the most important section out of your entire personal statement, and it should cover the main reasons for your desires to do the MSc in the first place. This should not be used as a section to repeat stuff from your CV, such as research papers and internship experiences you've already completed, because that will simply show them that you don't really know why you want to do the MSc in the first place, but rather should be more about your personal goals and what you're looking to gain from doing postgraduate study. The second paragraph should cover why you think you are prepared to do postgraduate study and should be between 100 to 200 words long. This should be a shorter section because this is where they expect you to go over the things you have already talked about in your CV, but make it quick and snappy and to the point, and explain how these experiences make you a viable candidate and a suitable candidate at that to do a postgraduate study qualification. The third paragraph of your personal statement should be between 200 to 300 words long and should explain why you are keen to do an MSc at that particular university. Needless to say, this should be different for each and every application you send off, because you cannot repeat why one university attracts you with a different university's name in its place, because it doesn't always translate like that. You should really make it specific for why you want to do ChemEng at that university and use the specific facilities on offer that that university has, as well as the modules it will give you and the extracurriculars that you can take part in and the social side of it, to show that you really have researched into the university you're applying to and that you really want to do the MSc there. For example, if we look at an advanced MSc in chemical engineering at Imperial College London, we could say that the motivation to do an MSc at Imperial is the availability of the pilot plant, which is an exceptional resource to have a hands-on experience of what they do in industry, as well as how carbon capture actually operates, as well as the fact that the modules they have at Imperial are quite broad and vast and cover a number of different specialities that you could potentially want to go into once you complete your masters. And finally, the final section of your MSc personal statement should use the remainder of your words and explore what you want to do after you finish with your MSc and how it will help you in the future. Common thoughts within this section include how your MSc in chemical engineering will allow you to specialise in a module within chemical engineering by doing a PhD in it, or potentially using the advanced chemical engineering knowledge you have gained from your MSc in a career role in the future, and perhaps accessing an industry you thought you couldn't before. You should definitely highlight why doing the MSc will be very beneficial to you on a personal level as well as on a career level too. When can you apply? In the UK, there is a rolling deadline for chemical engineering MScs, meaning that there is no actual formal deadline for when chemical engineering MSc applications have to be made. However, there is an advisable deadline that 99% of successful candidates usually follow, and that's what we'll be covering right now. Since the applicant to the MSc program must be in their final year of their bachelor's as a minimum, it is most advisable to send off your application from the point when it opens in August right up until November, as this is when your university year starts and will help you get your application out of the way before the crux of your final year of your degree begins. Most universities close their application window once they saturate with a certain number of applications. And since this is usually up until Christmas or just after in January, it's best to have everything sent off by November so that you have the best chance of being accepted onto the program. You can only submit your application for MSc Chemical Engineering once a year, so it's vitally important that you don't miss the deadline of usually late December to early January, because after they shut, you would have to wait until the next academic year to apply again. the key deadlines, and how your application is processed. It is most advisable to start preparing for your application 14 to 15 months in advance at the most, and no less than 5 months before the November application window. This is because there are quite a number of things that are required, and some things take a couple of months to be processed on your end, so it's better to give as much time as possible to avoid cramming in at the last minute. You should start off your process by shortlisting universities that you would like to do your MSc at, and double checking that the processes we have mentioned in this video, which 99% of the time will be correct, do actually match up with what their MSc process is like. You should then aim to get your MSc references sorted out as soon as possible, because previous MSc applicants who have been successful have informed me that this is usually what takes the longest time, up to 4 months in some cases, as university professors are quite busy with their own research and lecturing, so you need to make sure you give them plenty of time so that they get your application on its way. You should ensure that you have your university transcript, your CV, your personal statement, your grade reports, your module studied sheet, and English language proof certificates by the time of your application so that it can go ahead without any hassle. So once you have applied and the university has stopped accepting any more applications around late December to early January, you will expect them to process your application for about a month. The administration team actually reads your application, and most of it, if not all of it, is seen by a human at some point. So you should rest assured that you will not be weeded out using technology, especially since each application is taken case by case. Typically speaking, universities get back to you between mid-February and mid-March with an update on the status of your application. If you have been successful in securing a place, you will either be offered a conditional or an unconditional offer, with the conditional offer being given to those students currently still studying at their bachelor's degree and requiring a grade at the end of it, usually a 2-1. Whereas an unconditional offer will be given to those that are coming from an extended break from studying or entering from the industry they've been working in. They may ask you to complete a couple of other processes afterwards, but this is usually nothing too extensive, and after that you have confirmed your place for studying the MSc in Chemical Engineering. We will be covering MSc personal statements, including how to write them and some key examples in future videos, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to like it if you enjoyed it, and leave your comments and suggestions down in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow us on our social media channels, and if you click on the on-screen cards now, you can watch another one of our videos. Click on the centre card to subscribe, and don't forget to share this video if you found it useful. Further information can be found in the description, and thank you very much.